And again, don't necessarily guess right now. You'll get hints all throughout the weekend. Then eventually, we'll let you know when you can actually vote for it, to give your vote in. So,
awesome.
anyways, it looks like game number 2 has actually started here, Trout. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Ready again? All right, we've recovered. Looks like the team's sad, and we are ready for game number 2. Let's take a look. Complexity taking on QsQ. All right, so again, obviously in the game, in fact, the blind band's already going through, and look at that. Wild Soul Ophelia coming out here from QsQ. And then B-Kid goes both Wild Soul and Keeper of the Forest, as you talk about. So
yeah.
Wild Soul even being overlapped here.
Yeah, definitely. And I mentioned last game as well, if you're Hellborn, it seems to be a smarter route to lock. If you're going to lock up, one of Wild Soul or Monkey King, lock both of them. You just don't want to. You don't want to be in a weird, awkward position by having the Hellborn team get one of those, and then you not being able to get a better exchange from that. So they ban out both of them, I should say. Now, other things to keep in mind now that are not banned right as of now are specifically the Parasite is what I'm looking at. And I know that QsQ loves to run Parasite Male specifically. He's a very, very good jungle player, specifically on that jungle role.
Yeah.
I don't see him play second support that often, but when he does play jungle, it seems to be very effective. Now, obviously, the pickup of the Restoration Stone was a little bit questionable to me. They did find a way to make it work, though, and nonetheless, before that point, he played fantastically. We actually see a locked Zephyr. We never see Zephyr locked, actually. We always see him either just banned in the regular banning phase or just picked up. So,
yeah.
Not to mention Monkey King was actually locked there as well.
Yeah, the first lock from QsQ, actually. Again, Style does play a good Monkey King, but last game it wasn't the most impressive. I mean, when we went back to that, I'm sure he'd be the first to admit it, but maybe it's just a game. The game just didn't work out the best, but still, he has proven in the past that he can play a very good Monkey King. So, I guess I don't really have a problem with that. Maybe give him another go at it, but we'll see. Obviously, you only eventually choose 2 out of those 6 locked pool heroes for yourself. So, but the Illuna Glacius, then of course the Voodoo Jester Zephyr to finish things off. And as I was mentioning last game as well, we saw Voodoo Jester locked, and he did receive a couple of buffs. In your mind, maybe not the biggest buffs, but still something. And with Nova already playing him before that, you got to think Nova was a fan. Especially of those changes nonetheless. So Tundra is going to be the final lock, actually, coming out here from Complexity. So no Suicide. Oh, I guess Tundra, technically. But.
Kind of, yeah. Interesting Tundra lock right there because, quite honestly, I don't feel like anything in that pool stands out to me before that Tundra lock. Like maybe Zephyr, but Zephyr's not really like a I pick, I win. Like you really have to kind of form a correct team around Zephyr, I feel. And namely the Demanded Shaman. Like if I was Nova and I didn't want them to take Zephyr and I wanted to pick up, Tundra first of that lockpick phase, I would totally ban out Demanded Shaman right here. But we'll have to wait and see. He has one more ban left. He's banned out Jereziah, then Tempest to follow, Pebbles, and now Parasite actually from Beak. It doesn't want to deal with that Parasite. So one more ban to go for each side.
Yeah, again, and that was, speaking of Parasite, you mentioned it wasn't blind banned, and so the possibility of maybe even QsQ throwing Parasite in the lock pool, but no, they pass up on him as well, and in the end he eventually gets banned, as you mentioned. So Jereziah, Tempest, Pebbles, Parasite. Now the final 2 bans. Nova is going to be Engineer, it looks like, and B-Kid follows it up quickly with a Fade. So there you go. Definitely a hero that stands out to me, especially in this matchup. Moraxis is one that's standing out, so I wouldn't be surprised to see either side. But, you talked about also, if you are going to go Zephyr, and maybe getting something like that Demented Shaman here. So
yeah,
we'll see if QsQ perhaps picks up Demented Shaman or Complexity. You got to figure they're going to try to value him in there. So it's going to be interesting to see how we enter that lock-picking phase eventually.
Yeah, I would value the Demented Shaman pretty highly here. I think it'd be very strong, especially if you are going to... I mean, they locked Zephyr themselves. Like, QsQ did lock Zephyr.
Yeah.
Maybe they have a decision to run Zephyr this game. Also, Zephyr actually doesn't pair up that badly with Voodoo Jester either. They actually are going to go with the Moraxis. But strictly speaking, just, trying to base a team around Zephyr, it's got to be the healers. Like, the healers really make Zephyr powerful. Zephyr by himself isn't exactly the best hero, in my opinion. But when you have healers like Demented Shaman or Nymphora behind him, it's another story.
Yeah. It seems like whenever we happen to see Zephyr, there's at least one of those. The Ophelia, the Nymphora, the Demented Shaman. You have to at least have one. So, again, that could perhaps how this picking stage goes, could give us information, again, going into that lockpick stage. But Moraxis, again, not surprised to see that being the first pick. Bubble so far coming out here from Complexity, being picked up by B-Kid. Now we'll see who he picks up as that second pick, and it's been a little bit more time, of course. You know, you still got something like a Magnus and whatnot, but Draconis actually going to be picked up. So going the Draconis pick, even over something like a Silhouette here, but Draconis, nothing wrong with that, obviously.
Nox already right-clicking that Moon Queen.
Yep.
It says, give me Moon Queen.
Let's do it again.
Yeah. I mean, interested to see if QsQ does still run at jungle. There is Legionnaire and Warbeast still available as far as jungle goes. But if you're going to have Miraxin, and if you decide to go for hard carry like Moon Queen, then maybe having one of those junglers that requires a lot of farm to actually carry in the late game isn't really the best route. But nonetheless, still would be fine. I'm very curious actually to see what they go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's up to Nova, obviously, in the end, as I'm sure also perhaps getting some. I'm not too sure if Nova is one of those captains that gets input from the team and everything, or if he just does it himself. But I want to say he enjoys getting the input. I think we've interviewed him before about that. But anyways, he's ultimately the one that chooses it, of course. And spending some extra time here, about 40 seconds now and counting. So, of course, keep that in mind, which I'm sure he is. So, plenty of options, though, as always. You mentioned the right click on the Moon Queen. They are going to go Silhouette, however, instead, but also a Plague Rider. So, of course, still, nonetheless, the makings of a very strong team there over there for QsQ. Now back to Complexity. You got your support options in that pool, so probably not that. You figure, I guess, something like your solo mid option or even that jungle option, the Legionnaire Warbeast you're mentioning.
Yeah, I think a jungler is what they're going to go. I think they're probably a little frustrated last game, and they tried something different. And it did work out in the beginning. Like, don't get me wrong, it did work out, but something tells me they're going to pick up, like, Warbeast here and just go jungle, try to, farm. The only problem with that, though, now that I think about it, is having a jungler with the Draconis on your team does take away a lot of, the farming potential from Draconis. So, right now, if they're not going to go jungle, they have tons of options then. Perhaps maybe a point starter like Behemoth. Oh, they are going to go with the jungler. Okay, so that's kind of interesting because, like I just mentioned, it does take away from the jungle aspect that Draconis can use. So they're going to go with Legionnaire, though.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit careful about that. But maybe the possible, actually, Aluna is going to be first picked here for QsQ. So valuing her very high out of that lock pool. Now, of course, back to Complexity. You got your options here. I mean,
this is going to be Glacius Tundra, undoubtedly, I feel.
Okay. Yeah, as far as the middle options go. And then last pick over here for QsQ. Let's see, what have they got so far? They got the Miraxis Luna, so I guess, I don't know, actually.
Here, Voodoo.
Voodoo, you think?
I think they're going to go two different dual lanes, like a Luna Miraxis mid, Plague top, Silhouette Voodoo bottom.
Okay.
Would make the most sense to me.
Okie dokie.
And that'll be good. I feel like the lane setups are going to be favorable for QsQ. Like, they're going to win mid because you're going to have a solo mid Tundra. Like, it would seem silly to go Glacius and Draconis mid. You could do it, but then, Tundra is going to be in an awkward position against Plague Rider, and then you're still not necessarily winning your mid lane, and then your bottom lane is going to get crushed as well. The only thing you'd be winning basically would be your jungle. And wow, they go with Zephyr. Very, very interesting. I did not see that one coming. Very curious as to how they lane this. Perhaps maybe Zephyr, Aluna mid, Plague Rider and Miraxis top. But I am very curious about that. It should still work out, but I thought for sure they were going to go Voodoo.
Yeah, you see Nova right there mentioning they were going to pause the game to start, but yeah, that is something. So like you said, I mean, it's not like the oh god, that just doesn't make sense by any means, but it's different. I mean, your Plague Rider, and like you perhaps expected, maybe your Plague Rider Miraxis, usually not a lane setup you would expect. So. But we'll see. We'll see how that ultimately works out here for QsQ, and even if that is going to be the case, I mean, could be something like a support Silhouette. No, that'd be stupid. So, yeah, she of course has the Ring of the Teacher. Going bottom, you see Zephyr, the Hatchet Buckler build.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a Zephyr and a Luna mid, and Miraxis Plague top, and then a solo bottom Silhouette against Suicide Bubbles. So
I swear to God, there literally is a new skin every single game. I've never seen this one.
The Tundra one?
Tundra, yeah.
Yeah, you have.
Have I?
Yeah, I remember I was casting it the first time it ever came out.
Oh wait, no, that's a Cold Shoulder. You get
Yeah.
For some, okay, you're right. Never mind.
He bought a TP, by the way. I hope he's going to sell that.
Oh, Moon. What are you doing?
Now, if he was engineer, I'd say go for it. Start setting up some mines.
Some mines aggressive. That'd be funny.
But actually, the way that QsQ is setting up their lanes is basically for success. Like, they have the possibility easily to win all 3 lanes. Top lane presumably is going to be Glacius and Draconis against Plague Rider plus, I want to say, Meraxis. And then mid lane is going to be a Luna Zephyr, presumably against a solo Tundra. They should win that. Silhouette should win her lane against Bubbles. And then top lane is kind of up in the air. But the thing about that against a jungler is you do need to win a lot of your lanes, if not all of them. Because if you don't, that means one of your lanes is losing, not to mention you're playing one of your supports up against a free-farming jungler, which would be Legionnaire in this case.
Yeah,
so.
And ideally, and especially Chessie playing this Legionnaire, expect him to have a fairly good start, a fairly good time here earlier on. He does go the double buckler build, by the way, with the health potion pickup. So I know that he especially tends to go maybe the hatchet style as well. But
I like hatchet. It depends. If you're up against a team that can roam you effectively, I don't like getting hatchet. I like having the more mitigation of damage from the jungle. But when you're up against a team like Plague Rider and I think it's gonna be Plague Meraxis top, but that is not gonna roam you in your jungle. Like, you're gonna have a free jungle. So that being said, I'd like to have the hatchet to get as many stacks as possible. That's just my personal opinion.
I mean, Legionnaire, again, we're going to pause here, so I'm not going to get too ahead of myself, but he is facing towards the bottom direction right now.
Oh.
Do you think there is a possibility he could go Legion jungle?
There's a possibility, but if you're Legion jungle, I think that's even more reason to get that hatchet. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
All right.
I mean, it would be... The thing is he can't really gank Silhouette all that easy. Like, if it was, like, say, a Hellbringer in the short lane, and it was very obviously a Hellbringer, then yeah, I would say it would be a pretty easy time. Actually, he might, because look at, well, Draconis items is actually side lane item, so yeah, I don't know what they're going to do, because Draconis is walking bottom as well. I don't know.
Who has the war? So Bubbles, of course, has the war. Not going with the boots, though. Again, we're sitting in a pause, so perhaps in the end looking too much into it, but...
he does have the ward, though, on Bubbles, you're right, so... Yeah, I think it's going to be Bubbles suicide.
Well, Nova has reconnected, so... As soon as they are good to go, then we get started now with game number 2 here. Again, QsQ, as you see on your screen, if you happen to be tuning in late, I mean, one, you just missed one of the better matches we've had lately, and 2, QsQ is up 1-0 as a result of that match. So, yeah, coming out of the pause, though, you do see the immediate change of direction. Legionnaire and Draconis both going. And you know what? It actually makes me wonder if they purposely do that, just to kind of... I'm just saying, whether to troll us or, if the 6-minute pause does happen, there is a 6-minute delay.
I don't think they're thinking about that too much, but we're going to see maybe a clash up here in the top lane. Luna's going to walk towards the right to place a ward. Already a ward of sight placed up in the top spot there next to the rune for the Hellborn team. I will say Legionnaire is not exactly the best in level 1 engagements. Tundra's okay, I guess. But we're going to see a big flank on... Oh, Luna's in a lot of trouble right now, or is she? No, she's going to be fine for now. But if she can actually bait them, yeah, she can do some body blocking on Glacius. No, can't get it.
Just a little slow.
I feel like she could have maybe even baited that a bit.
Yeah.
Like, just maybe it ran towards them or something. I don't know. It was kind of iffy. It was kind of...
I mean, the last thing you want to do, though, is that she just got bursted down all of a sudden bloodlust for complexity.
And then they run away.
And then they run away, exactly. So even if you get a kill after that, though, I mean, still, complexity would have the advantage. So, yeah, I can understand why Nova was, like, a little bit timid there. But you're right. It seemed like they had a chance. They definitely had the numbers there. You mentioned Legionnaire isn't the greatest, especially at level 1. But in the end, no kills, nothing really too much of it. And into farming we go. Now, Glacius, it looks like he maybe babysit Legionnaire even a little bit here early on. Nope, never mind. He is going to start towards the top lane, but he's actually sitting next to him initially. But so the lane setup. So what do we got in the end? It looks like it's kind of what we expected. Yeah, your Zephyr, Luna mid, your Meraxis Plague top, and of course the short lane Silhouette, your Bubble Suicide, your middle Tundra, Glacius Draconis top, and Legionnaire in the jungle. So yeah, it turned out pretty much as you were calling it here, Terrell.
Yeah.
Nothing too radical.
Yeah, and the thing about this, though, is Zephyr's going to get complete free farm. And that's normally not what you want. Like, you want to play up against the Zephyr in lane because, quite honestly, he's not exactly the strongest laner. Unless you have a hero like the Man Shaman and it works with them. But he's going to get complete free farm. In the meantime, Tundra is not exactly going to get very much farm himself. So that's kind of iffy and it's kind of bad for them. Aluna's already transitioning to the bottom lane. It looks like she maybe just want to do some stacking or something. But yeah, no, they're going to have a solo Zephyr actually against this Tundra. And that's going to be good. Like, Zephyr should be doing fine against Tundra. He's a melee hero, so Tundra's going to take extra harass from those tornadoes if he's in range, which he will be because he's a melee hero.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have basically complete free farm Silhouette. And she already, in my opinion, wins this lane up or in the bottom lane against a solo Bubbles. But Aluna's just going to make it that much more
Yeah.
of a win.
Just really make sure. Get the levels, get the good farm, and lockdown bubbles as well. Because as you're talking about, Zephyr, especially in a melee matchup, he definitely has that advantage with the clones, with the Cyclones, and he saw right there, I mean, he gusted Tundra in, and already Tundra actually had half life. So Moon Meander will need to be careful about that. He did eventually sell the Homecoming Stone, by the way. He didn't keep that. He actually went for the early bottle build, as you can see, as a result of his items. And he actually will have it now, so that'll be good for him. Pre-2-minute mark, see if he can maybe get the rune even with it, as soon as he purchases it, that is. But so did Zephyr to an extent. I guess no, he just farmed very well.
The courier went all the way top for some reason.
And it's a ground courier, too.
Yeah, did you see that? It was like all the way top. I saw it walking back to base. Oh, yeah, Moomier was in a little bit of trouble right there, but this means he's going to have a delayed bottle, which means he's not going to be able to get the rune.
Oh, dive! Zephyr's diving, says, screw it, I'm going to go balls to the wall. Tundra trying to stay alive in the woods, and wow, he'll barely get away. He does have bottle. Oh, the Guts is going to be out in 2 seconds. 1 more second, Tundra gets his bottle barely.
Oh, the power throw missed.
But a Lunar comes in, and Paratho misses, but Nova will still get the Bloodlust kill. When it's all said and done, that 100% goes back to the courier.
Yep.
100%.
Well, again, I think I saw it all the way top. Like, it might have been to Legionnaire ferrying some health potions, but I don't know for sure, as he ferries himself 3. Or maybe just 2, because he had one himself. But that courier also could have been sniped. I really feel like in this game, too, like, there's really no reason to not have an upgraded courier. Like, there's really none. Yeah, you have Glacius buying everything, but I would say buy it all. I feel like it's very effective, but yeah, he didn't get the rune in time, and he's actually going to get aggressed here yet again in the mid lane. He's taking a lot of damage, but because he didn't have that, he had that bottle. If he had that flying courier, we would have had it like a 1 minute 50.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. He would have had it so much sooner. He would have been more than fine right there.
Yeah.
I'm very confident saying that the courier was the biggest issue there, whether it was just not upgraded, whether somebody else was using it.
And
big deal, so. He
gives himself the counter word, which he gives and drops it actually in the force there for Legionnaire, but why? Like, he doesn't have time to counter this. He's got to be jungling and farming, and all this time is being spent on these counter wards right now. Is I don't know. Complexity seems a little bit flustered right now, to be honest.
Well, I mean, so now you break things down a little bit, see how the laning phase is ultimately going for both of these teams. Zephyr 18-6 against a 12-1 Tundra, and of course the kill or the assist at least on top of that. You got the bottom lane. Silhouette is having a fantastic time. 22-11 against an 8-1 Bubbles. Again, kind of expected, especially with the Aluna support that she'd had earlier. Now, the top lane, you got your more access, 9-1 against a 12-2 Draconis. So not necessarily winning the lane, but it doesn't seem like Draconis is really having the best of the times either. So all across the board, and you mentioned this, QsQ kind of needed this. It is looking pretty good for them all across the board. Yeah,
I don't understand the purchase of this counter ward if you're not going to do anything with it. Like, he does buy it right now, and I think it's in range to get that ward. I'm not 100% sure. He's walking around there. He doesn't see it, actually. He's spotting with a courier. Can he spot it?
I don't think
he can't. So. Okay, so here's the thing. Even if he did spot it, guess what's going to happen? It's not going to spawn until 5 minutes, which means you can't stack it until 6:15. So what's the point of even buying it unless you're going to counter it right away? Which means, why don't you have the courier upgraded?
Tundra again in the middle lane, a lot of trouble. He got gusted in. The power throw will connect. He's trying to make a move right here with the cold shoulder, but it just is not going to happen. He will fall again, and QsQ off to an amazing start. Legionnaire nearly tying to the triple stack there as he'll get away in time using the health potion. It really is just, like you said it, I mean, it seems like Complexity is just honestly flustered, and whether it's because that game one, the way it finished, I mean, the start of this game too, something is off, and QsQ's taking advantage, and QsQ's off to a very strong start here as a result. They're also going to start applying pressure now to this middle tower here.
Yeah, I just can't get over like how honestly useless the purchase of the counter ward was if you're not going to do anything with it. Like, first of all, it didn't even spot out correctly where it was going to be, and so that's a good ward placement from Nova. But even then, like I said, even if it did, you wouldn't be able to stack it till 6 minutes, and then you wouldn't be able to pull it till 6:15. And that would be 1 minute after, well, depending on actually when Nova placed the ward. It actually could have respawned at 6 minutes if you placed it earlier. It's just a wasted counter ward. Like, if you're going to buy that counter ward, it needs to be bought right away at 1:30, and you need to already have the flying courier. Now, the problem with that is, like I said, you have to have all of it purchased basically by Glacius, because who else is going to buy that? Like, the Legionnaire? Like, no, he's not going to buy that. So, yeah, it's just an awkward position. And then again, if you're going to buy it and you're not going to be able to use anything with it, why not have the courier upgraded, or at least, waiting around for that bottle for your mid player? Like, how many times have you been mid where it's like, okay, I need my bottle, I'm going to have it, especially when he goes for an early bottle build, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Now, he is going to use the bottle, speaking of that, to, of course, bottle up a regen rune here. So That'll be good for him, but he does need to be very careful because Zephyr is level 6, of course. Zephyr does already purchase his Beastart, by the way. So he's well on his way to a very early Helm of the Black Legion here with the boots on top of the bottle picked up, of course. Steam boots finished on Silhouette as well with the Ring of Teacher. Again, Nox is continuing to have a fantastic time down here. Going to apply even more pressure. Missing the Tree Grapple, more so it's a nice sidestep by Beacon actually coming out. Meanwhile, back to the top lane. Glacius taking a little bit of pressure here. Blackwater following up more axes. Will Glacius somehow get away? No, the creep block's coming into play. He will fall. Legionnaire, however, comes in. He has to decapitate, but he didn't use it right there, and more axes is still fine. Bubbles will finally clean up, though, and the decapitate to take out Plaguewater. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Zephyr big time pushing, going behind the tower, but so at least Complexity, they get a good amount of kills there at the top side, take advantage of that, but both their middle and bottom tower now are taking a bit of pressure there, so they'll need to be able to respond to this here.
Well, and Bubbles TP top, and he actually did get a kill and an assist, so I guess it, in a sense, was worth it, but that's going to leave Silhouette down here all by her lonesome.
No, nice cold shoulder from Mumian. I was going to say he could dodge that Typhoon. That's exactly what he did. Now Styles the one in a lot of trouble, actually. In comes the Shell Surf. No level 6 yet from Bubbles. The Cyclone's going to be in. Here comes Legionnaire. Says, I got ya, bitch. No decapitate, but the spin's going to be more than enough as he charges in right there. So great job by Chessie.
Yeah.
And taking advantage of that situation of them feeling aggressive, pushing up. So actually Complexity making some great responses here. And it again isn't as out of control anymore here earlier on.
Well, Chessie's been very, very active early on. He's been a part of every single kill, not to mention the top farmer in the game. Not just on his team, but in the game. In the meantime, you have Draconis getting a little bit of pressure here in the top lane from Jonas and Van playing this Meraxes. He does have an ultimate ready. He still might want to dive, but now he shouldn't as he spots out the Legionnaire, who, by the way, is going to stack this again for a triple. He already has his Helm of the Black Legion. He is going to farm ridiculously fast. So Chessie keeping him in the game at least earlier on in this series, or earlier on in this game. Spots out a double damage rune as well. He's going to mitigate that from Zephyr possibly picking it up. But yeah, Chessie doing really, really well here early on.
Yeah, just like Jonas Fan was the that MVP early on, really all throughout the game for QsQ last game. No doubt Chessie's having that fantastic start and making that big impact. And you see with the double damage rune right here, he's actually going to really be able to take down this triple stack camp fairly effectively. Of course, having the Helm of the Black Legion on top of that. So yeah, his farm, very, very good. And again, great news for Complexity. Now, once again, kind of breaking down how things ultimately are going here for both sides. I mean, you still have both a Zephyr and a Silhouette, who are fantastic farm. Now, this is interesting, though, because you made the strong point when Zephyr was locked up that you kind of need to build a team around Zephyr. Now, what tower was that? That was the bottom tower.
Yeah, so good deny.
Great deny by BK coming out right there with both Aluna and Silhouette being down here. Meanwhile, the top lane missing that action, but Moraxis and Plague Rider collapsed to kill Draconis, so big kill there. But going back to Zephyr real quickly, they don't really have that supporting cast that you're talking about. At least the one healer in Demented Shaman, in Ophelia, Nymphora. They don't really have that here.
Well,
so
I like what they've done, though, and they have the hard carry in Silhouette. They actually have a good initiator in Meraxis, and they have a good aggressor and pusher in Zephyr, who actually has his Helm of the Black Legion right now. Did die once, but other than that, actually has a lot of CS, up to 63, right there up with Silhouette. So they're going to be able to, what I basically mean is apply a lot of pressure from two different heroes, being that Meraxis and Zephyr. And in the meantime, Silhouette's going to be able to farm, and carry them to the late game. And look at her farm compared to Draconis's. It's like not even close.
They're going to go in under Tundra right here, but at what cost? Zephyr needs to be careful, and comes the taunt from Legionnaire, or the charge, I should say. The taunt also used Zephyr, taking the damage, though, with that Typhoon, but no, Bubbles joins the party. Kelfield Shell Surf gets the kill. You see Aluna trying to get a line up for a power throw here. She's going to go for a random one, but nowhere close to her. And actually, she was spotted here now, so does need to be very careful.
She's the Invis bottom.
Okay, the Invis will be picked up, though, and the Striders activates, so Nova will be fine. But Zephyr getting a little bit too cocky there. Again, that was more so, I guess, even a great play by Complexity. Kind of even baiting that and getting a counter kill again.
Shout out to the old mass TPs, eh?
Yeah, there you go. Yes.
Now they had people actually even sitting there behind them too, and just waiting and
they
baiting.
Were just ready for that.
So I mean, Bubbles actually he's 2-0-2. Doesn't really have any farm other than his hero kills and assists though. He's only sitting at 22 CS compared to 70 for Silhouette. In the meantime, you actually have triple stack Ancients there ready at the disposal of Legionnaire, and I'll say that if there's anybody that can clear out triple stack Ancients quickly early on in the game, it's Legionnaire. And that's going to be, like I'm going to say, he's going to have so much gold. He's going to have a very, very early portal key.
Yeah, you see him finishing off the Dragon
He's actually having some trouble
here
with him right now.
Yeah, well, it's just 2 left, and it's kind of funny, because Legionnaire is one of those heroes where it's like, the more the better, actually, because of the spins. But
again, I don't understand. Like, he's going for this taunt build. Again, he has level 4 in taunt. He also bought a bottle as well.
Right.
I don't...
He has been trying to rune control a little bit, so maybe. They do take out the middle tower in the meantime, by the way. But yeah, you're right. The level 4 Tawny was a level 1 Whirling Blade as a result, and you always talk about how that just sacrifices a lot of farm on you if you do that. So.
Yeah, I mean, every little bit matters because this triple stack easily would have been cleaned out if he had that, which means he would have had more health, which means he could have been farming and then jungle somewhere else.
Now, I will say, you made this point earlier, and it's kind of true. I mean, he has been involved quite a bit in team fights and ganking and whatnot. So Glacius is going to get caught out here in the meantime, by the way. Hold it thought for a second. Matrix activated and gets the kill. Luna's also here to support, and he'll definitely need it because Bubbles now trying to counter on top of Draconis. Does have a kill field. Going to lock down Jonas Fan a little bit right here. They may get a turn call to Draconis, though. Draconis, no, he's going to barely survive. That Plague will bounce around. It will get the kill to Draconis. It bounces back to Bubbles, actually, and Bubbles may fall. The final auto attack goes out, but Plague will also fall. Wow, that was a crazy fight.
Yeah.
A 3-for-2 exchange in the end for Complexity when it's all said and done. So, wow, that got pretty crazy.
Yeah, great. The Plague Rider Ultimate, the RNG factor coming into play right there. And then I was going to mention something else. Oh, yeah, still, I just want to get back to some of the decisions from Legionnaire. Like, I don't think his leveling taunt really played a role in these kills, though. Like, I think he would have got the kills regardless, you know what I mean? Not to mention, even if he was spinning, like, that means it was going to be doing more damage. So you can, say that, if he had the levels of Whirling Blade, it would have done just as much damage, if not more. Like, what I'm saying is, I don't think the extra duration of the taunt really played a factor.
True.
And at the same time, if he had more levels up in a Whirling Blade, he would be farming faster. Draconis in a lot of trouble yet again. The ultimate's not up from Raxus just yet, but the nuke might be enough. That nuke from Plague Rider is level 4, and actually they're both level 8 now, so Plague Rider has good levels actually up in the top lane. And one of the things I've actually criticized from Plague Rider in a dual lane is that you lose out on a lot of those levels, but not this case here, as Male now has Steam Boots complete on top of Vestments and level 8, so really doing work here.
Well, I was going to say, too, my big problem with what happened right there was Haxman. You see this Ward Sight in the lane from the Hellborn team. He spotted that coming a mile away, and he still did not really react to it.
You're right.
Whether that was just tunnel vision on his part or thinking he had a little bit more time than he actually did, that kill honestly should not have happened right there. So that's a good take, though, for QsQ. And you see actually Jonas Fan pulling the creep wave into the jungle here, allowing his creeps also put some pressure on the tower. In the meantime, Aluna gets caught out. She was, for some reason...
I thought that was an illusion.
Yeah, some reason near the Hellborn Ancients.
What are you doing there?
And Chessie is like, thank you very much. So he's level 11, by the way. So he has a level 2 get Decapitate, which he just used right there. And, wow, he can nearly... Yeah, he can drop Aluna especially, which I'm sure he did right there.
Mid lane.
Middle lane Zephyr chasing Legionnaire. Speaking of him, Legionnaire's damn tanky though, and I believe he will be fine in the end. Yes, he will, as he just homecoming stones right there. So
that was actually a smart play by him. He saw the creep wave ahead of him, and he used his charge to try to get away. But the gust happened, and nonetheless, that level 1 Typhoon just simply doesn't do enough damage.
Yeah.
And good, smart play by Legionnaire right there. But I still kind of question like the bottle pickup. Like I just don't really understand it. I think Chalice is way better. It gives you a better, higher base mana pool and a little bit more HP on top of that. And yeah, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but he will have his portal key here relatively shortly, in about another, I'm going to say, 3 minutes or so, which is right on par. It's pretty good.
See Shaman's headdress was just picked up right there by Zephyr. So despite those 2 deaths earlier on from Style, I mean, his farm obviously continues to be very, very good. But more importantly, perhaps, you have the silhouette. Nox has just been farming out of his mind. He continues to do so. 430 gold per minute down here, and nearly finishing a Nullstone even, as he just needs that 1,000 gold mark to do so. We're only now 15 minutes into the game. So yeah, Nox's farm is pretty damn good here. At this bottom lane, especially when you compare all across the board, especially to Draconis, man. Haxorn can't get anything going this game so far. He's 0-3-2. He's lucky to stay alive to 200 gold per minute, it seems like, at this point. So,
well, it seems like Legionnaire is constantly farming these Ancients, stacking them himself. And I feel like he's saying to Haxorn, hey, you can take the jungle, I'll just take the Ancients.
You got his portal key there.
Who, Legionnaire?
Yes.
Okay, he has his portal key. Moon also has enough for his own portal key as well. So this could be the time that Complexity really starts banging on all cylinders and starts moving around and ganking. So, oh, Legionnaire did just show his portal key there in the mid though, so kind of unfortunate.
Yeah,
that's something you'd like to hide normally.
For at least a little bit, yeah. But nope, he shows it. Now again, obviously QsQ would have had to actually go over him, but being a smart team wants to take advantage of knowing that he's at a good farm, and when they see him on the map, just double checking if he has it or not. So maybe they saw Tundra also just purchases his, as you mentioned. So that'll be, this is that timing for Complexity to try to take advantage of that. Sure, it might not be that big surprise factor, but nonetheless, having those portal keys, Inspect Hunter is going to try to use it right here. Trying to lock the Silhouette. The Nullstone is not going to be deactivated by the Avalanche. Instead it was by the cold shoulder, of course. Silhouette still on the run, though. Aluna is coming in to save. Nice split up with the Illusion, though. She ports to the other one, and she'll be more than fine. Great microing going on from Nox right there.
Yeah.
Ultimately helped keeping him alive. Of course, Moon using the cold shoulder to deactivate the Nullstone initially, but it just didn't matter. So tried to use a portal key right away, but not enough. Meanwhile, portal key from Legionnaire coming out. Plague Rider could very likely fall right here. I don't see him surviving. In fact, Shellsurf coming in. There's a level 2 decapitate. So a good kill for Complexity at the top lane.
Yeah, and in the meantime, you actually have Jonas fan roaming around here. He's going to get spotted out, though. He's sitting right on top of a ward. In the meantime, mid lane, we're going to see some aggression onto Style. He does not use a Typhoon because he didn't have enough mana, and everything will be fine right there. Still have Nox just farming away. And will he be able to carry this late game against Draconis? Well, Draconis has no farm as it is right now, but clearly can bounce back as we've seen time and time again. So I think the real key here is, despite Meraxis having a good time up top and getting some kills and being 4-2-1, he's still relatively far away from that portal key, actually.
I mean, this does go back to you brought up the strong point earlier, and hell, even before the game started, when Draconis was picked up, they could have gone jungler, but that would sacrifice the farm of Draconis being in his own jungle. But it kind of feel like we're seeing that here. Chessie has been stacking his own camps, you mentioned, stacking the Ancients, doing them, and he's continuing to do so. I thought maybe at least he'd get the portal key, and then he would start freeing it up for Draconis, but no, he's actually still stacking them, still doing them, so clearly they value even more farm here on Legionnaire right now than they do on Draconis, so it continues to be a little bit struggling here for Haxrin.
And I think that's fine because, I mean, Legionnaire is definitely a hero that can still take over a game and honestly can still carry a game. Like, that hero can do massive amounts of damage. We might see a clash up here on the top. They want to go on this Meraxis, I feel. Moonmander sitting up here with his portal key, of course, and he's going to portal key up to the top rune. Isn't able to spot it out. It's actually a haste rune onto Zephyr. Zephyr puts the Typhoon. Lots of damage coming out on Moon. He does have an ultimate. I feel like I would have just used it right there since you would have died anyway. Meantime, up top, there's actually the ultimate from Meraxis, and the Plague Good bouncing around does do enough damage. Meraxis does fall, unfortunately. Plague Rider trying to jet on out of there.
Zephyr chasing down. Glacius is going to be picked up. Now Legionnaire in some trouble. He does have the portal key. Good easy right there, and Bubbles was ready to back him up. So in the end, though, the Glacius kill coming out from Zephyr. You mentioned that started with a Tundra kill, a 3-for-1 exchange in the big picture, and what could also very likely be a tower kill when it's all said and done. You need to be a little bit careful here, though. Legionnaire ready to go in. He's charging it. He wants to go for a kill. He has it decapitated. Oh, he used it a second too early, though, but it doesn't matter. They still get the kill on a Plague Rider. Zephyr trying to go for a turnaround. Perhaps Kelfield going to be activated right there. In comes a courier action. You need to be a little bit careful about that, but no, Zephyr will be fine, and actually the tower is going to be denied in the end. So I guess Complexity finished it off pretty well, but yeah, as you mentioned, Nox pushing in the bottom lane during all of that, and look at that. He actually goes the portal key pickup.
Yes.
And Trouf.
Do we have it?
Is that it? The seal of approval from Trouf?
Nox totally gets my seal of approval. I mean, not to say, yeah, there it is, baby.
There it is.
Not to say that other players haven't done that, but it's just like I see so much this trend of not buying a portal key on Silhouette. It makes me cringe.
Yeah.
So it makes me really, really happy to see that actually picked up. But what was I going to say about this top lane? Something, and I forgot. Oh, meantime, though, Meraxis does have enough for his portal key. So that's going to be good for him. Yeah.
Big as always, and getting close to level 11. So
one of my pet peeves is, okay, it didn't end up being a big deal because he didn't die anyway, but Style, he got ulted by the Kelfield from Bubbles. And he used all this time about waiting for the ultimate to go out, waiting for the ultimate, but then just still runs out of it and gets stunned anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, why not just run out of it and get stunned? Or it's like, wait for it, be patient, or just go. And actually, usually at level 1, you just want to go because the stun duration, I think, is only like 1.5. Yeah, 1.5. But again, not the biggest deal in the world. In the meantime, you actually have Nova, who warded out the Ancients from the Hellborn team. It is only a ward of Revelation, so it's not going to last too long.
Ooh, Zephyr going to Firebrand here, actually.
Okay.
That's his follow-up. You like that?
I think, to be honest, I think Mach actually would have been good this game. Like, it's not going to be good against Draconis at all, but, Bubbles is pretty damn squishy. It would cancel his portal key. It would cancel Tundra's portal key. Tundra is also pretty squishy. I mean, he is a strength hero, but he has really no farm other than his portal key. So, and actually now does have a bound eye. That's crucial for Tundra.
Tundra. Yeah, obviously Moon plays a fantastic Tundra. At least that's definitely a history of one of his better heroes. And picking up a bound eye is really this kind of build is what we see time and time on him. So. But yeah, so the Firebrand right here for Zephyr, is when we see a Firebrand especially, usually leads into a Frostburn eventually. for Zephyr, and so it seems like Style could be possibly going on that route.
Bottom lane, we actually see initiation on Silhouette, but she got the split up.
Look at
I
that.
think she actually used a split right when Legionnaire jumped in and taunted, and it didn't catch. I want to say that's what happened.
Big plays.
Yeah, that was pretty damn good actually.
They didn't catch, unfortunately. Yeah, he did that earlier though too. In fact, he's gonna go in right here. Okay, I was gonna say that's pretty risky, but no, he just forced through the illusion way back here, and he'll be more than fine. But I was gonna say, he did that earlier with the illusions, where he's really good at just spreading them out after he uses it like that, especially in intense situations, and keeping himself just fine. So he just continues to just go out of here in the jungle. He's been doing this basically the whole game, and obviously it shows in the GPM. I mean, now up to 485, but it's not just him. I mean, Zephyr also at 475.
Wow, yeah, Zephyr has a lot of
gold
farm
per minute. So QsQ continues to be the leading star here for complexity, up to around 420 gold per minute himself, but Draconis is that big factor, and he's not even going no stone first at this rate. It looks like he may just go straight for Shrunken Head with the Mighty Blade and trying to save up 2,900 gold here. So.
Yeah, he wants to mitigate that damage from specifically Zephyr, Meraxis, and Plague. I mean, there's a lot of max.
Here we go. Jump from Meraxis using that portal key onto Draconis. In comes the Typhoon, and Draconis will just melt like it's hot right there. Glacius going to be locked in as well. He'll fall. In comes the Avalanche, but Zephyr is so damn tanky. So is Meraxis. Now Plague is bouncing around. Decapitate already used. Tundra is going to fall most likely when it's all said and done. The kill field stun coming out, but no, he'll eventually die. The chase now onto Bubbles and Legionnaire perhaps, but they should be fine as the damage is done. So Meraxis for 3 again every day of the week. Q Squad will take that. Great catch on their part, and very possibly going to push this top tower now.
That was a pretty silly ultimate by Glacius. Like, you weren't going to do any damage to them. It was a Meraxis, and you could have just stayed up. It was clear that, or not Meraxis, but Zephyr and Meraxis actually, now that I think about it. But it was clear that the Gust hasn't been used yet, and you were standing right in line with them, and it would have been pushed you into, like, that was just a silly ultimate. Should have been done. Actually, Legionnaire jumps in, but not going to catch anybody. As he actually might get counter-initiated here by Silhouette. Silhouette goes on the Bubbles, though. Finds Beacon. Does so much damage. Shout out to that build. And he uses the ultimate to get away. Ah, yes!
Trough is loving it. Loving the portal key success. That's... obviously, it does bring so much to the heroes, and well, as one of many examples we see right there. So, yeah, you thought he was going to go for Legionnaire with some team support, but no, he was confident that he could take out Bubbles by himself, and sure enough, Nox was correct.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Can we get that? Can we give him a double stamp of approval? Can we give him that?
A double stamp of approval. We've never done that before here on HoNcast. That is a HoNcast first. Trough is loving
like McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it.
Okay, that's just too far. That's just too far. Wow, I mean, yeah, so he's going the shield breaker route. This is the build that you do talk about a lot and you kind of stress, but very few do it. But Nox agrees apparently, and seems like it is working out so far. And so again, overall, you look at this lead, 8,500 gold lead now, 4,400 experience lead here for Q Squad. It's getting bigger and better, and most important though, I really think keeps going back to this Draconis. Haxorn can't get anything going.
Yeah.
I don't think it's his fault. It's just both the situation he was put in, and because of this Legionnaire is soaking up so much farm in his own jungle, he's just not able to get that.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like I mentioned, right at the drafting phase, like Legionnaire is great. He's 6-0-3. He's farming really, really well. But honestly, his items at this point don't look that like. Yeah, he has good farm, but they don't look that impressive as far as like pitting it up against what the Legion team has, like Shield Breaker and Silhouette. You have a freaking Frostburn now. They both have 500 gold per minute. And I feel like even though he has these good items on Legionnaire, he's actually going to die pretty damn quickly. And your farm really needs... Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh, guess what? He poured it out. Guess what?
Oh, my God.
Guess what? He's gone.
Wow. Glacius just melted, for lack of a better word. Meanwhile, at the bottom lane, Bubbles also jumped in. He will fall, too, it looks like. Oh, the cup into the last second. He really is doing his best to stay alive, and actually Beacon will stay alive. Big plays from Beacon right there with the silence at the end especially. Meraxis is on the run now. Great stomp coming out, and actually the portal key, not even necessary. He will be fine back up here, though. QsQ picks off Nox. He got very low, but QsQ does get a kill on a Nox, so we just got finished being very impressed by Nox. He does die, though. That's a big play by QsQ right there. Unfortunately, didn't really catch it, but watching the bottom, actually. But yeah, big kill for him.
I want to say he purchased something. Shrunken head up onto Draconis as he's putting some aggression onto Meraxis. Here comes Zephyr, though. He can't gust him just yet, as has a full 10-second duration. Shrunken head. He does use the ultimate, though. He does hit him Frostburn, slowing him as well. Can they get the slow onto Zephyr? They get the ice imprisonment from Glacius, so
something red power throw, maybe?
Perhaps. I don't think it's going to be enough to take him down.
It's not off cooldown.
Well, actually, I think it would be enough.
I think it would, but it's not off cooldown, so it don't matter.
Damn. Damn, that would have
No
been cool.
snipe.
Luna, by the way, is
So-
only level 7. Oh, I guess Glacius is only level 8, but... yeah, top lane, I didn't see... I want to say, though, like, Silhouette did buy something. She had no gold when she died. But unfortunately, I missed that because we were watching the bottom.
Well, you also got to keep in mind, Legionnaire is level 17 now, so he has a level 3 Decapitate, and that's 625 life or less. You will be instantly killed as a result. So, obviously, I'm sure that played a big role right there.
Well, the thing, too, is that's great against that is the Null Stone. Now, obviously, you can cancel it with the charge, but you need the charge to get that damage output as well. So
to get there in the first place, even. So
we might see some aggression here onto Draconis yet again. If he pushes up another wave, he could be dead. But he's going to back off for now. He doesn't exactly see them. He does suspect something, and he knows now that was the right decision because he would have been dead for sure.
Yep, 100% dead. But Silhouette, of course, back up. Now she's still on level 2, and here we go again. Legionnaire jumps her. Luna with the stun, but Silhouette is dropping quickly. Moraxis jumps in, but the Decapitate to finish off Silhouette. Here comes the Golden Dragon, and now Moraxis in a lot of trouble, but Typhoon perhaps was ever. No, not up just yet, actually. Moraxis will go in. That Plague Goose bouncing around doing a lot of damage. Glacius will fall when it's all said and done, and now Zephyr still in pursuit, but that Shuriken out of Draconis doing a lot of work right there, and actually able to finish off Moraxis as well. So a 2-for-1 exchange, and very, very effective for Complexity, as they only lost Glacius. You do see a power throw snipe right there from Luna, but just more so farming up the creep wave. So Silhouette getting caught, though. Legionnaire making the big plays here for being played by Chester.
He is getting caught out, yeah, but good initiation there from Legionnaire and the team follow-up. And part of the reason, too, is you have to give a lot of credit to Moonman playing the Tundra. Is he's constantly using that Hawk for vision. And that's one thing that sometimes as a team forget is you think you can counter Ward, but you can't counter that Tundra Hawk unless you kill it. But obviously it's a lot easier said than done because that Tundra Hawk can go invis. So, yeah, Nox getting caught out a couple of times here before these fights, and he is the biggest damage dealer on his team. Now, that's not to say that Zephyr isn't doing anything, and look at that. He picks up an Axe to the Malphite now. He is now the top farm in the game at 506 gold per minute.
Well, see, that's kind of the scary thing about this lineup overall. I mean, so sure, you're getting a couple of ganks on a Silhouette who's been basically free farming up until that point, so that's good, but in the meantime, you have a Zephyr who's even more impressive, and Zephyr has proven time and time again that he will get pretty damn deadly himself, and if anything, just a nuisance. Like, you're right. I mean, he's not that big damage dealer necessarily as far as upfront damage, but it's just a lot of damage over time. He stays alive in those team fights, and it will add up. And so it's just about buying time for the Silhouette to just even farm up more, and then just to do that right-click damage in the background is really, of course, what QsQ's going for. So still scary nonetheless here for Complexity, despite a couple of kills onto Nox. But yeah, Chessie 8-0-4 now in hero kills. Again, 436 gold per minute. Talk about impressive stuff there. The Soulsborg been huge for him. He has another 2,500 gold saved up, actually. So
yeah,
he goes for.
He's dishing out a lot of damage. Could just be that straight demonic breastplate. Firebrand now picked up onto Draconis. He feels he doesn't need that Null Stone at least right now, and I kind of agree with him, except for the fact that Jonas fans sometime this game will hopefully, for his sake, will get a Hellflower. And but I still agree with that pickup from Haxorin, as we see a Astrolabe probably in the works here for Male. It's going to be quite a late Astrolabe, to be honest, but they still need one regardless. Yeah. But here's that Tundra Hawk as it's going to scout out some more vision there for the Hellborn team, as they do have a ward of sight here by Nova. It is going to spot out the Shiver, spotting them out. So they should be careful. And actually, they see the heroes, but look at that. There's the Bound Eye pickup coming into play some more, as it's pretty easy.
Zephyr running in comes the Typhoon right there. The Avalanche going to be countered, but Silhouette jumps in and again just melts Tundra to the ground, but even a Bound Eye on top of that. Again, that's obviously huge. Tundra cannot buy back. And actually, what is Draconis doing up here all by himself? He was pushing up, and he's in trouble now. Oh, Moraxis will miss the Quake Stun, though. So Draconis will be fine, but Haxorin, I mean, he just... I'm very curious as to what he was thinking right there, because his teammate just got ganked right below him. So, yeah. This tower is going to fall in the end, and obviously huge here for QsQ.
The Shrunken Head was used by Draconis. That might be a Q to push into the base. You still have the Plague Ultimate up, but it looks like they're not going to do that. They just want to fall back, and I feel like they could have actually made a big play right there. With their actually, they did use the Typhoon on Zephyr, so maybe not. Maybe they just want to play it safer. And they can. When you're up, why not get more up? So Silhouette's going to TP into the bottom lane. She has that Shield Breaker 3. Actually, she can purchase. I don't know if she already has or not, but she's got 2 on her right now. You actually have enough just about for that Behemoth's Heart onto Zephyr. He's going to be such a tanky force to reckon with.
You see right now already 2,400 life, actually, as a result of his item builds. And once he finishes that Behemoth's Heart, definitely upwards of 29, even 3,000 perhaps. So Yeah, a lot of life on him. I think it's still just level 2 Silhouette Shield Breaker. I don't believe he's purchased the level 3 of it yet. So he is saving up a good amount of gold, so I am actually kind of curious about that. Obviously, you only need 1,000 for the last upgrade, but maybe he just wants to sit on level 2 and go for something else. Maybe he just wants to get back to base purchase it. I don't know, but Nox is going to continue to try to farm. Now, Draconis is starting to do a little bit of the Ancients now. Again, I haven't been paying full attention to this, but obviously earlier on, Legionnaire was taking up on most of them. But Draconis does hit level 16 right there. You talked about the Firebrand purchase, and actually, okay, that is an illusion silhouette.
Yeah,
she burst down.
Yeah, she blinked up there and then poured it out immediately because it could have been deadly, even though you have that Null Stone and you have the ultimate. If you get silence from Bubbles, I mean, Bubbles is actually quite a good counter to Silhouette in that sense, if you don't have that shrunken head up on a Silhouette.
So it ports out and is more than fine. Another Bound Eye purchased by Tundra right there. Of course, kind of forced to after dying earlier. Speaking of that Bound Eye, Nova is currently in hold of it. Playing this one obviously very squishy, so kind of a risk right there, but trying to take advantage of that. There's the Behemoth Star finish on Zephyr, so as expected, up to 2,900 life on him. Middle lane, Meraxis jumping a solo Glacius. He freezes himself, actually, and that's going to be proved to be pretty effective. In the end, though, he will die. That port better be canceled, and it will be. Okay, I was going to say, that person was dead, whoever that was. He cancels it, though. There goes the tower. More picks happening here for QsQ.
Yeah, regardless, though, you can't get picked off like that. And it is only a Glacius, but his ultimate was used, and it can be effective in teamfights. He's dead for another 24 seconds. You did bait out the Meraxis ultimate from that, and that's good. And he's got a DD actually still popped. He's going to the observatory to buy some more mana potions. But Zephyr up in the front lines, just absorbing all that damage. Still actually has relatively low armor. Needs to get that armor boost from Plague Rider pretty quickly. And actually Meraxis does pick up, rather than the Hellflower, goes for the Soul's Bulwark route.
Yeah, you know, you talk about Zephyr, he tends to be deceptively tanky. You talk about the armor, only 8 armor. It's not the greatest. But oh, in the background, we do have a jump by Silhouette on it, Bubbles. Here's the counter, though. Silhouette being locked in, and Silhouette will fall. So a big dive here from QsQ, and that might not pay off in the end. The Plague is bouncing around, but Draconis toward the party. Cataclysmic Assault doing a lot of damage as expected. Zephyr trying to tank it, of course, taking it like a boss. He maybe finding the end. Knows the freeze coming out even, as Silhouette the Illusion is here trying to help, but no, the taunt comes out, and down goes Zephyr. Chessie with a double tap. That was not an initiation that you were looking for QsQ. It did not work out whatsoever, and now Complexity's going to make them pay. In fact, the chase is still on. Tundra going after Plague Rider here, trying to catch him as Legionnaire and Draconis are following. There's the charge. Plague Rider is definitely dead as well. Mumiana picks up the kill. Meanwhile, up here, Luna's also going to fall. Nearly a genocide just like that for Complexity. You gotta question that initiation choice.
I don't feel like there was any reason to initiate at all. Now, yeah, Silhouette does do a lot of damage, but clearly didn't get the kill, and you had some great counter initiation quickly from Legionnaire. And if you're gonna do that, you need to pour it out with your illusion immediately. Like that just simply, that obviously didn't work out in the slightest. And as a result, Complexity is now in the lead as far as experience goes, and a pretty hefty lead at that at 6,200. Gold lead still is in favor of the Legion team, with Zephyr having so much gold on him. But I will say, as this approaches late game, Zephyr starts to lose a lot of his pizzazz. And even though he has a lot of HP, you saw right there with the demonic breastplate up on the Legionnaire, and all of his damage is physical. And because Zephyr doesn't have any armor really right now, and because the Bulwark went on to Meraxis rather than Zephyr, like you said, he's deceptively tanky.
Man, I honestly still can't get over that initiation of just what were they thinking there.
Yeah.
And, you know, in a sense, kind of just threw that fight, because you're right. Why? I mean, you don't need to do that if you're QsQ. You're ahead. You know, as we always say, you know, get further ahead if anything. It's not like you need to break into the base right there. You're not in all-in mode by any means. So, poor decision. Definitely coming out in Complexity, as they should have. They capitalized big time, and that's huge for them. Post-haste just picked up by Legionnaire now. So, again, he is 10-0-5, man. 470 gold per minute. Chessie continuing to do a lot of work here for Complexity's sake. Tundra also did a very good job of reacting right there, I must say. With a very quick avalanche himself. So, and obviously in the end, this also just simply buys more time for Draconis, who is now at the Slayer pickup. So, on his way to a Savage Mace, and obviously with that level 3 Cataclysmic Assault, he will be dishing out tons of damage here against this Legion team. So, yeah, need to be careful if you're QsQ. You've definitely been in the lead, but it ain't like that anymore because of what you just did. So,
yeah, and in just the last because they got a lot of kills on the Legion team, Complexity has actually furthered their experience, and especially gold lead. And they're doing everything that they need to be doing. Firebrand into the Savage Mace for Draconis. That's going to be good. His farm is boosted up to now 340 gold per minute. And he definitely can bounce back. They need to play these fights a lot smarter if you're QsQ. Barb Drummer is up on a Zephyr, which is a great tool, specifically up against Draconis. But Bubbles, he's got a lot of farm, and he's actually been doing a lot of work in these team fights with these properly placed kelp fields, and he's been pretty patient with them as well.
Yeah, you know, now that I'm looking at it too, Plague Rider, he did go to level 3 into Extinguish, so he only has a level 2 Cursed Shield here. Again, not the biggest deal, but it's something to keep in mind. That's 2 less armor that he could possibly have at this point if he went to the level 3 in that instead. But he is definitely passing around his melee, and something else to keep in mind as far as tankiness goes here on the Legion team. But yeah, the Barbed Armor, absolutely huge. We talk about it all the time with Draconis, but even, again, for Zephyr specifically, just having that Barbed Armor, get the armor aspect of anything. In fact, speaking of Barbed Armor, Legionnaire actually just picks up a Barbed Armor of his own. So now you do mention a lot. It's kind of it's always an interesting choice because of the fact that he is so damn tanky himself. So it mitigates a lot. But Conqueror is going down here now. The Franzi Ward of Sight, as always. It is in the Conqueror pit spot, and this Legionnaire jumped in, but he quickly falls back. He did a good amount of damage to Aluna, but he realized maybe a little bit too far ahead of his team. So he falls back, but Conqueror is now going to be very low.
Yeah, they did spot them out. They actually had a ward right in the middle of the lane. That was kind of a silly ward because they know that the Bound Eye is up on their team on Tundra, so they're going to stay here, though. They have full vision. This is going to be in favor of Complexity.
Here we go. Tundra jumping in comes Legionnaire. The Power Armor activated. Silhouette going to be the target of choice. Can they save him? Silhouette dropping quickly. No, he ports out at the last second. Going to be fine for now. Plague under the Plague is starting to bounce around. Not the greatest, though. Glacius staying alive. We do see Moraxis trying to do what he can. Legionnaire will be picked off in the background, by the way, by Zephyr, and Silhouette does stay alive. Now, Legionnaire cannot buy back. He has absolutely no money. Silhouette in kind of an awkward spot right here. She's trying to bait out, if anything. But no, she is going to be slowed by the Curiel here. Moraxis and Zephyr are still up, of course, and they're ready to support if need be. So in the end, what do we got? A Legionnaire for a Plague Rider, and no buybacks were used, but this could be the Conqueror kill now. You do see Tundra and Bubbles. They want to maybe Ninja. This is going to be really close right here. Will it be worth it? Oh, Moraxis jumps in. Actually, Bubbles will fall, and Tundra fall. Silhouette doing so much work right there. Zephyr will end up picking up the token of life most likely. Actually, Glacius is here. He's ready to kill it. Glacius kills it! Glacius kills the token of life. Zephyr didn't have spots. They were saving it for Silhouette, and Franzi makes a huge play there at the last second. So still good news for Q Squad in the end, but that was big. That's
a really huge deal because having a token of life up on a Silhouette means it's just you have all the time in the world you can to farm, and then finally push into the base, which presumably is going to be a Savage Mace up with all this gold pulled up on the Nox. So that's a big deal, killing that career.
Yeah.
But at the same time, before that, I mean, that was bad for Q Squad. Like that really sucks, and you could really benefit from a token of life. But still, great initiation from Moraxis up into the backfield. I don't know how they saw them because maybe they just saw them walk in there because of this ward that Nova had.
Yeah.
Saw them walk in there, and they were thinking that's the only place that they could be. And it was just kind of like a blind go. I don't know for sure, but nonetheless, fantastic initiation.
Yeah, again, I'm not exactly sure either, but somehow they did, and it was perfect. The Moraxis on top of Silhouette with the follow, and obviously just melted him to the ground. And speaking of Silhouette being able to melt, she now has a Savage Maze, so, and by the way, a double damage rune's bottled up. So you got to be really careful with your Complexity if you've noticed that come another fight, perhaps here in the near future. So, but yeah, killing that token of life at least is good news for them, and will slow down a lot of momentum that was just picked up there, once again from Q Squad. You do see Legionnaire, he did suffer his first death of the game, actually, and I wonder how much gold did he give them as a result. Chessie, let's see, where's that streak being stopped? 500? Yeah, 500 good bonus gold for, no, Chessie got Style streak ended, that's what it was. Where the hell did Chessie die? Okay, 705 for Style, actually, so they got each other, and Style came out on top, actually, as far as the gold difference, so yeah, funny there.
Style got a lot of gold right there, and I'm curious as to whether Nox realizes or not he still has a shield breaker too.
Yeah, that is odd. Okay.
Like it's 1,000 gold for the negative armor increase and a 15 damage increase,
yeah.
so I feel like it needs to be purchased here. But just feels content with level 2, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so vote to pause here. Again, seems like Jonas Fan is fine, so maybe just a quick issue to give a fix. But yeah, that is odd. I remember talking about that earlier, how he had like 2,500 gold pulled up, and I was like, okay, are you going to finish it or what? But nope, he still has it. But yeah, he has that double damage rune. Still has 50 seconds before he needs to use it. But clearly, even without a token of life, they feel pretty confident, as they definitely should, being able to group up and push here. So buybacks. No buybacks have been used yet. Again, just like last game, a little bit surprising that it's been such a pretty intense game. No buybacks used just yet between these two teams. So we'll see. The possibility, though, here is definite, as right now you have Bubbles and Draconis who do have buyback money. Other than that, there really isn't anything as far as that goes. So Draconis, he is at the top lane currently. Of course, we'll port back probably ASAP, but Complexity continuing to be on their heels here for the most part. And remember, Q Squad is up 1-0, obviously, so Complexity is very aware that they are on the verge of perhaps being 2-0 swept here in the losers bracket, and that would definitely surprise a lot of people, so including themselves, I'm sure. Definitely going to fight strong, though. We'll see what they make happen. Here's the ready. Here we come out of the pause.
I still can't get over how much better the Keeper armor is than the Plagues. Like, I'm thinking about it. It's like, okay,
on
great.
a side note.
I know. I'm just thinking, well, okay, well, actually, in the meantime, we do have Zephyr just tanking up here in the mid lane and wants them to go on him, basically, with that 3K.
Look at this ward of sight by Nova, by the way, just right next to Bubbles. So they're very aware of where Bubbles is at. And, but again, we saw the last time they were here, they jumped in and it did not work out at all. So.
Well, they have the double damage on Silhouette now, but that shouldn't mean jump in and go crazy.
Here we go, but he says, no, I am going to jump in and go crazy. The illusion, he did put out Morax as well, finish up Bubbles. When it's all said and done, Draconis is going to use the Shrunken Head, but he realizes very quickly he needs to fall back. The Shrunken Head is already off. Zephyr chasing him down. Silhouette in the meantime will be locked down and actually goes down to Draconis, or excuse me, to Legionnaire, but Draconis will fall, and Zephyr proving to be so damn tanky. Legionnaire doing his work. Draconis and Bubbles both buy back, though, and here's the big chance now for Complexity to fight them off against all being locked down. He's going to try to run away here. He does gust back Draconis, but being chain slowed here. More access is nearby, but I think it should be enough. No, the taunt comes in from Legionnaire. He says, gotcha, but at what cost right there? Legionnaire may be in a little bit of trouble now himself, but it could ultimately set up the kill nonetheless. Zephyr is falling, and Zephyr tanky, damn tanky. No, it's not going to be enough, though. He will go down when it's all said and done. More access says, I got to get out of here. Nothing more I can do. And he portal keys away. Legionnaire still wants blood, actually. He's going to try to chase him here, and he's going to run into Moraxis. The taunt comes out. The follow-up will be here. There's the cold shoulder. He's going to activate the barbed armor, go for the stomp. The power throw will miss, unfortunately, and actually Legionnaire may actually end up surviving. The axes will land. The barbed armor is up, and Legionnaire will pick up the kill. When it's all said and done, they're also going to push what is still the first tower down here, believe it or not. But Complexity, again, they fight strong.
Yeah, that was pretty funny, actually. He initiated on them and then started running away, and then his own team push-booked Legionnaire to get him away after he initiated. But really well played right there by the entire team of Complexity in that instance. And I will say, though, that you still use the only reason they won that fight is because they actually had good initiation from QsQ, and basically what Style did is he jumped in and did like one or two auto attacks from his Relentless Salvo on the Bubbles with the double damage, got him down to basically nothing, and then poured it out immediately. Like, it was a matter of 1 second. Poured it out. Bubbles nearly died from just that instance. And then actually, who was it? Moraxis jumped in after that, got the kill. But then you have both buyouts on Bubbles and Draconis, and that was the reason why they were still in that fight. I got to say that Barbed Armor did a lot of damage to Draconis, because Moraxis has one too, and just sits right there, and Draconis basically hurts himself. So they still came out on top. They defended the racks, but they did use 2 buyouts.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. I mean, it seems like Draconis really hasn't been having that ultimate impact that we're used to seeing a Draconis have. I mean, obviously 2 reasons for that. The big one being just lack of farm earlier on, no doubt hurt him. But at the same time, you look at the hero damage chart in the end. He has actually upped it with Zephyr, and actually they are going to get a catch on a Nova. Again, using that Shiver, I'm sure, to initially spot him and eventually take him out. So Nova just getting bursted down. He's only level 9, so quicker resurrection. But Silhouette actually made jump Draconis up here in the top end. He is going to go, but the tree grapple does not connect.
Oh,
if
no.
that stun hit, then I don't even know if he had it, actually. Maybe, okay, he did try for it, but doesn't land, and that could have been a kill, big kill nonetheless.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And that tree grapple, I think the stun is 2 seconds. 2.5, actually.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a good chunk of time to just keep auto-attacking. And you use that, and if you use your Death Lotus immediately after, because he does have that Shrunken Head available, you want to use all your spells you can first, and then just pound him in with auto attacks. I mean, you're looking at a Shield Breaker. Is it finally level 3 now? I want to double check on this, or is it still sitting at level 2?
Still level 2.
Still level 2, but regardless, that plus the Savage Mace, it's going to cut through Shrunken Head so easily. So it's still back and forth game, relatively similar to last game as well, actually.
It really is. I mean, so we're coming off with definitely a very entertaining and exciting game 1, especially the finish there, and game 2, it definitely is living up to it, I must say. This game 2 is proven to be a very entertaining game itself, and of course making the series overall just that fun to watch. So 44.5 minutes in with that said here in game number 2. again, Q Squad. Both teams have definitely had their shining moments here in this game specifically, but right now you do have Q Squad again up 1 game to nothing. Okay, there we go. He finally purchases a level 3 shield breaker. Again, I don't know if it's just that he simply realized or he just wanted to go another route instead earlier on. But he does have the level 3 shield breaker. It's actually being delivered right here. And Q Squad is going to group up yet again. Now, remember, I mean, the middle is still there. They've gone twice now to the middle lane, and the tower is actually still even up. So they really haven't been able to break into the base just yet, has Q Squad. But they may go for their chance down here at the bottom lane this time, as they are going to make their way in. So we'll see what Complexity does.
They still, I feel, don't have enough damage to really poke into the tower. Like, you can use what they've been doing is having Zephyr just sit up there and attack the tower, but it hasn't really been doing enough damage. Okay, from the 50,000 spams, yes, the tree grapple vision of the Kongor fight was what made them see above the Kongor.
Okay.
Great job. Awesome. Let's move on. They've been poking at the tower from Zephyr, but it just simply hasn't been doing enough damage. And what you'd like to see normally is like a Silhouette do that with the uphill attacks you can now use from Savage Base, but she just gets bursted down way too easily, so they can't go about that route. And we see some initiation onto the illusion there bottom, but obviously they'll figure that out pretty quickly.
As they kill it, yep. Miraxis the one down here, and Miraxis actually needs to be a little bit careful. He's by himself currently and kind of pushing up fairly far, even just using his Quake Stone right there. But I guess they do have a Ward of Sight right here at the bottom lane, so that's going to spot any incoming pressure, and he already falls back, so going to be fine. Again, obviously we are now in a very, very passive game here. It's 24 of both teams in hero kills, so obviously 48 total. I mean, not complaining by any means about the activity of the series, but as every game really will tend to have, you know, the passive moments, and that's where we're definitely at right now. So Zephyr, another 3,400 gold saved up. Obviously seeing in a pause now, but 3,400 gold on Zephyr. So you look at his item build currently and what he could possibly go for next. I mean, again, he does technically have at least one more slot here.
Yeah, well, he could still easily make that barrier, which is going to be good against Draconis and Bubbles, and even, well, a lot of their team, even Glacius as well. But I think as you approach the late game, like I talked about, Zephyr seems to taper off. Like, he seems to be kind of useless. And for that reason, what I would like to see on Zephyr at this stage of the game is something just kind of crazy like a Hellflower or even a Sheepstick. Just having some more utility to Zephyr, because he really doesn't have that much. It's kind of like Gust, and then your ultimate, and then auto attack. And you can slow from your Frostburn as well, and that's probably the best thing that you can get from Zephyr. But I feel like having an extra edge and being able to lock someone down, especially there are no Nullstones yet on the Hellborn team. Like Draconis doesn't have one. If you blink, well, he doesn't have a blink obviously, but if you get him in a Sheep or a Hellflower, like, he will drop, he will die. And you already have the blink coming out from Raxus. That's why I was actually gonna shocked to see him go for the Bulwark instead of the Hellflower on Miraxis specifically. Like, I would have liked to see the Bulwark onto Zephyr, namely.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're going to need that, too, to initiate properly onto a hero like Draconis or even that Legionnaire, because if you jump on him, they're just going to, after the stun's over, they're just going to shrunken head and walk away.
Yeah, I mean, even more so. You figure now, obviously, the Soul's Bulwark on Zephyr might have made a little bit more sense, but then eventually upgrading it to the Demonic Breastplate. I mean, Zephyr can definitely take advantage of that, so... Yeah, it's
well, it looks like now Miraxis is going to go fully into the demonic too. So, if they wanted some kind of Hellflower, it's going to have to be from like a Zephyr. Like, Miraxis isn't going to have the farm to do that with that champion already purchased after that Soul's Bulwark. So, yeah, I really would have liked to see the Hellflower onto Miraxis.
Yeah, very, very true. So obviously coming out of the pause here and continuing on with the game. So good to see. Now 46.5 minutes in here to game number 2.
Silhouette's in trouble up top.
Oh, yes, she is. Legionnaire jumps in. Does she pour it out in time? She doesn't actually have the illusions up. She's going to be Hellflowered in the meantime. And there's a Decapitate to finish her off. She does have buyback, but again, it's a case of just even using the buyback in the first place really does suck. Legionnaire will join the rest of his team in the middle lane as he ports there with the post haste. And it looks like that's where they may try to just push out in. Here in the middle lane, I mean, Kongor is not up, so, but yeah, if anything, just force that buyout, like I said, to be used. She's
just dying too many times, man. Like, she's getting picked off. You should know that there's no build at all that can stop you from a taunt from Legionnaire. Not a Nullstone, not a Shrunken Head, nothing. Nothing can stop you from that. So you need to farm a lot safer. Not to mention, you still have to basically... Oh, here we can see a jump.
Legionnaire again. This time on a Zephyr, not the prime target. In fact, Silhouette will fall back. And here we go with the counter. Silhouette joins the party. Miraxis in the background. Onto Draconis. Bubbles trying to save him, but the chase is still on. Silhouette now joining up there, as I said, with the auto attacks. A lot of damage, but in the end, they will only get the kill on Franzi, it looks like. But now QsQ is ready to make a big fight happen right here. The chase is still on. Meraxis going after them, and Complexity will be forced, if anything, to get a lot of regen going here. And I wonder when Conger is going to be back up, actually. I remember the Token of Life was killed the last time it was actually killed, and that's how that fight ended. But I'm not exactly sure when that happened. But anyways, QsQ, they are going to try to break in. I mean, Glacius is dead, but it is just Glacius after all. So definitely Complexity could still make a stand here. But we'll see. Avalanche, or excuse me, wow, Kelfield is coming up right here. For Bubbles, but the tower is going to fall. Obviously, Zephyr feeling pretty confident being in the front lines, waiting to maybe get a good gust into somebody. Silhouette's ready to follow that up with her burst damage from those auto attacks. Legionnaire just waiting for the right timing, it looks like. But again, Zephyr not necessarily the prime target of choice.
Look at the Tundra Hawk, though. It's giving all this vision.
Oh, yep, you're right. Right behind them. So Moonman are doing a great job without microing the Hawk, and actually Plegator will spot that eventually. And it looks like QsQ's had enough of just hanging out, so they'll be happy with the way that ended. But so again, they did force a buyback, but QsQ did play it pretty well there.
Yeah, they forced. Oh, they're trying to rush him now as the Hawk is. Actually, the Hawk gets slowed by the Deja Vu from Luna. But I feel like QsQ could have gotten way more out of that. Like, I think the tree grapple again was missed onto Draconis. I'm not 100% sure. Now, he did use that Shrunken Head, so I almost wonder if that was Complexity's plan. Like, okay, jumping onto Zephyr. I don't. They have this knack for jumping on the most tanky hero on the team. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But maybe it was their sole intention to jump in there and just friggin' run away, bait the buyout immediately. If that was their intention, then it worked out. But something tells me it wasn't, because you did use the Shrunken Head on Draconis, and he was up like way too far. If that was their intention, it would have just been Legionnaire himself jumping in and then just running away with help from like push books from both Tundra and Moonman, or sorry, Tundra and Bubbles. Yeah,
of course you're kind of referring to that game where they lost against, I believe it was State Green in the winter semifinals. The Electrician was damn tanky, and it seemed like Complexity continued to initiate onto him. You know, whether they were forced to in the end or whatnot, I guess you could argue, but
no, they weren't. They weren't forced to. They did it to themselves. But we have a game here, though. 25 to 25, 50 hero kills in just about 50 minutes.
This series, man. Again, we had a great game one. It's going to be interesting to see how we would follow up here to see if we could even live up to that hype. But holy crap, we have. I mean, this is definitely turning out to be one of the better series we've had lately between QsQ and Complexity. And I must say, I really did not see that coming. Now, there we go. You talked about that Sheepstick picked up by Zephyr.
Nice.
You're mentioning maybe the Hellflower, but yeah, going the Sheepstick route here.
I think Sheepstick is even actually better in this instance. Yeah, Hellflower is going to give you more damage onto the target that you're attacking, but Sheepstick's going to keep him into place. And I feel like especially with Draconis, and you have two push books on your team, having them run around silence isn't really going to do anything. They need to be locked down. And the two push books are going to come into play. They already have this game. Hellflower picked up in the Bubbles. He has no buyout. And if he gets spotted out and killed, that could be huge for the Legion team.
Yeah, as always. So, again, looking at the ultimate. What is Legionnaire doing right here? Legionnaire wants that kill, and but the Sheepstick comes out, and now Legionnaire in a little bit of trouble. Was this the ultimate bait, though? In comes the Barbed Armor. He is dropping pretty fast down, already half-life. Zephyr did a lot of damage, and Legionnaire may fall when it's also done. Avalanche in the background on the Silhouette, though, and Silhouette actually taking a lot of damage. Silhouette will fall herself, and Legionnaire survives the whole time. We do have a vote to pause here coming out for Complexity. Apparently, Chessie has crashed. That's amazing, because he somehow did what he did and is getting away.
Well, I feel like, honestly, he played it as if it would have been played anyway. Like, he needed to run away. That was kind of convenient for him. What I don't understand Nox's positioning. Like, where is he in these excuse me, where is he in these fights to where he's getting just taken down immediately? Like, he has a Null Stone. Saying, well, they blink Hellflower at me is not an excuse unless they use something already like Tundra. It must be the Tundra. But his positioning, he needs to be way better. Like, he needs to be waiting for them to like use their spells and initiate, because he is the top damage dealer on their team. It's not Zephyr, it's not Meraxis, it's him. And his positioning is pretty awful. He did buy out in this team fight. Chessie's back. He has no more HP, though. We'll have to wait and see how they pan out this team fight.
Yeah.
But he did buy out, and I think he already ported to his illusion. Yeah, he's right up there.
Did he? Oh, wow. Yeah, he's good to go. And now... See, that's unfortunate, because honestly, that's huge for Complexity, because they of course they're going to realize right away that she's bought out, sitting in this pause. So I know. It's not like you're not like reacting in the heat of the moment. You've had plenty of time to realize that.
It's pretty.
You know, he did time out, so it was a legitimate pause, but still, it does kind of suck in that sense. But here we go, Glacius will fall right at the back. Here comes Silhouette, and look at Draconis just melt once again. Tundra will fall as well, and it still works out beautifully for QsQ right
Oh,
there.
the Nova
Despite
Snipe
that-
killed Chessie.
Oh, did it?
Yes. Way up here by the racks.
Nice.
Wow,
Nice.
fantastic job. Legionnaire does have a buyout. Draconis, they all have buyouts. They got to be very careful. Silhouette, no more buyouts. Please, for the love of God, stay back.
We'll see. We'll see
Buyout.
what happens. Oh, B-Kid actually takes on Moraxis in the meantime. So there's the buyout, though, as you were talking about. The Mithrax goes down, but now Zephyr being locked down. Well, Silhouette jump in. Zephyr's just tanking, but he's
get
not
out.
going to be tanking enough. Hellflower's applied, and he will finally fall. So I don't know. I mean, QsQ, they get the racks, and obviously they did force all the buyouts. So I guess in the end, QsQ can still be somewhat happy with that. Well, Zephyr is dead, though.
Yeah, but Congo's up. That's
He's
going to
not
be a
buying
token
back.
of life up under Draconis. He did buy out himself. He has no more buyouts, and his farm is shit. Like, his farm is really bad. He does have what's that, Savage Mace, but this is 52 minutes. And, but having this token of life is going to change all that. Now, they did get the kill, and here's the thing. Silhouette has no more buyouts. Has no more, and you basically kill her in the base, you win. Like, it's as simple, it's as easy as that. So she really needs to be careful about her positioning. And right now, Shrunken Head absolutely needs to be in the works for her.
Yeah. Again, that is a lot easier said than done. So, but sure, without a Shrunken Head, actually, she is pretty damn squishy when you really think about it in her item build. But definitely getting that Shrunken Head could help save her. But yeah, if she happens to get picked off here, it dies. That could be the cue for complexity, especially with that token of life, of course, on Draconis. So him not having the buyback, but at least he does have the safety net right there. Zephyr obviously will be returning now, about 15 seconds to go, and he'll be good. So, you know, despite what I was saying there coming into the pause, it still worked out beautifully for QsQ, of course. And again, they did get all those buybacks to be used. So, again, just continuing to be just a crazy, crazy finish here to this game. 53 minutes into the game now. So, obviously, complexity, they could perhaps start thinking about double damage room, by the way, going to be bottled up by Tundra right here. But they could start thinking about maybe even pushing into the base now themselves, especially with that token of life. So, yeah. We'll see when that timing comes up, but
more words are countered by Tundra. I think it was countered right after it was placed up there in the top rune to the left. So, you know, bound die making plays all game, this game. Like, there's been a lot of bound dies, and it certainly has made a huge impact this game. But we see all 5 grouped up on both sides, actually. QsQ is all sitting behind Nox right now. They do have a Storm Spirit up onto Plague Rider, so that's going to be very, very important.
That's huge, yeah.
And 150 gold more, and you're going to have that token of life. That was a very, very risky blink there by Nox. He does see them all up there, but still, he really, really wants this Shrunken Head. He does now have enough.
Okay.
And so he's going to purchase that. Obviously, you need to purchase every bit of gold you have when you have no more buyouts.
Yep.
Otherwise, it does nothing.
All right, so he has a Shrunken Head, so that's the good news. Now, there's still 2 outer towers remaining, believe it or not. The bottom and the middle lane actually in favor of QsQ. But here we go, complexity. They are going to try to break into the base. Now, they probably don't know that she actually has a Shrunken Head just yet unless she's completely exposed herself, which I don't think she has. So that could catch them off guard as well. We'll see if that comes into play. Zephyr, of course, just in the front lines with the armor from Plague Rider. Going to gust Draconis forward, but again, Draconis has a token of life, so the last thing you want to do is blow everything on him initially. Yeah, and then have him come back up. So
I think
be careful.
Oh, they're actually going to pour it out.
Middle, so
they're not going to fight right now, and that's actually good for QsQ. As look at them, they're rushing. They want to find them. They want to find them. They're not going to find them. But that was actually good for QsQ because I feel like Nox used his ultimate way too early right there. Obviously, you want to use it right before you know you're going to have a team fight, because if you use it early on and like you get in this position where they're just kind of poking at they're poking at the tower and they run back and they're poking, then you don't have an ultimate. Then you have really no outs. Like, you always have to have that ultimate up when you initiate a silhouette. It's a fail-safe. You jump in there, you expend everything, you expend your juice, as I would say, and
for some reason,
and then you get on out. So
yeah, if anything, you can argue that's definitely what helps make her part of the hero that she is. I mean, having that utility to be able to just have that fail-safe, as you put it. So I definitely need to be careful about that. But again, having the Shrunken Head, nonetheless, huge for her. Man, 1,500 gold difference. That is just nothing here 55 minutes into this game, but it does remain to be more of an experience for complexity. Again, that's kind of similar to last game, just vice versa. If anything, it was QsQ had the huge experience lead last game, and of course, ultimately, they were victorious. And I'm not saying that's what played the biggest role, but still, just a funny coincidence even. Now, middle lane, possible jump. No, I thought I saw more axes maybe going in, but nope, just staying back. Don't want to risk it, obviously, especially with Legionnaire kind of farming up. You got to figure that could be bait chance. But again, Moonman are going to use the Shiver, as he should and constantly does, to get some good information here against this Legion team. And actually, you see QsQ all falling back as a team. Don't want to have to deal with that. So Token of Life, what are we sitting at? Just over 3 minutes now on the Token of Life here for Draconis. So
I think spotting out these shivers before the fights happen is going to be crucial for QsQ.
yeah.
I think this vision, and like I always talk about, one of the things that makes Tundra so powerful, and probably the most powerful, and why Moon Meander plays him so well, is he's constantly putting it in the right position, giving your entire team information that is really necessary. And it's always moving it around.
Look at what they're doing right here as Q Squad. They're trying to set up a flank. However, Franzi just placed a ward aside right here. That'll easily spot them. Now Draconis, will he notice it in time? Here goes Zephyr. Okay, never mind. I could swear they could be seen. I mean, there's no way they can, right? Maybe they can't. Wow. Okay.
Up there? No, they were attacking the ward. Luna attacked that ward once.
Okay,
so
interesting. Yeah, so
definitely
definitely they were seen.
The ultimate was used by... No! Now you're not going to have the ultimate for another 80 seconds. If they push into you, that's going to be very, very risky.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing liberal usage of that ultimate this late in the game, especially when you don't have a buyout.
Well, that is down, and you know, complexity. Obviously, with the Token of Life, especially, they're feeling pretty good. You got Cataclysmic Assault ready to go for Draconis, of course. So the flank attempt that was being set up right there from Q Squad doesn't really go through, and in the end, they'll just kind of be at their base ready to defend. Now look at the top lane. There's a big push up here for Q Squad actually, and that could be a saving grace. Once again, could force the Hellborn team to port back and maybe deal with that. But for now, they are still hanging in there. Zephyr and Draconis kind of staring each other in the eyes and wondering who's going to make a move first. Again, the creep wave doing plenty of damage up here to the tower, but oh no, that was just an illusion going up there. Where's the right moment? Token of Life, what are we at? A minute and a half now, so he may get the tower here, but the racks, of course, that's the next level. That tends to be a little bit more difficult.
Well, that's Savage Mace for you. Look at that.
Yep.
Popping the illusions, using that Savage Mace proc, or I should say the true, what is it?
True Strike.
True Strike, yeah, uphill to get those easy attacks onto that tower. So utilizing that really, really properly. And there's nothing really that Q Squad can really do about it right now. Like, they want to wait for a jump. Look at Moon Meander just constantly scouting, eating out its invis. It's going to move it to the other side, so it's going to possibly spot up some axes.
There was a gust of it. He was right next to the racks, but they chose not to initiate right there. Again, they really want to not have to go on that Token of Life, but there becomes a point where
you have to. Yeah.
You're just giving up a racks here in this case. So here we go. There's the split up. Is this going to be the timing? Zephyr pounding into him with auto attacks. There's the gust, and Draconis will fall.
They could do it right here.
This could be. Yeah, that Typhoon is placed down. There's a Sheepstick. There's Silhouette with the jump, and here's that counter. Draconis being tapped forward, but Draconis will fall when it's all said and done. The Plague is passing around. Legionnaire trying to do his work on a Silhouette, but Silhouette's doing too much damage. The Barbed Armor is up. Silhouette's taking a lot of return. He needs to be careful not to be decapitated. He's running away. They're coming in. Oh, the Storm Spirit at the last second, and Legionnaire will fall when it's all said and done. Silhouette stays alive, and now here goes Q Squad. Draconis is down for a whole minute. Remember, he cannot buy back.
Right.
Legionnaire does have a buyback, but it'll just be Legionnaire and Bubbles against all 5 here, ideally, from Q Squad.
Yeah, that was massive. And you said, like, he was so far up when he died that he took too much damage when he resurrected. And they should know. Hopefully they remember that Draconis does not have any more buyouts. That's going to be huge. That could be another set of racks. And maybe even the game. We'll have to wait and see how they play it. Silhouette's making her way up mid. They have 35 seconds of full reign without Draconis.
I mean, so Legionnaire and Bubbles, what are you going to do? You can go in, but if anything, that just risks death, so you have to give up the range racks there. You might be able... Okay, he's up in 20 seconds, so you're probably just going to give up this tower now, and then probably will be able to save with the melee racks. In fact, a vulnerability is going to be used, so yeah, they're going to delay it long enough, it looks like, to get that support. We'll see how long Q Squad. Now, on the other hand, Q Squad, they do got to be careful not to really just overcommit. But here we go, the jump on the Legionnaire. Actually, he is going to be talented forward. There's a gust back in. The Song of the Sea coming out, but Bubbles now in a lot of trouble. He'll be bursted down. Silhouette again, just doing so much damage. Glacius off in the background. Here comes Draconis. Legionnaire is already below half-life, though. But the Cataclysmic Assault going off and down. Oh, the Storm Spirit at the last second. And Silhouette may be fine. No, she will not. She will fall when it's all said and done. And here goes Complexity. This is going to be huge for them. Can they capitalize big time? Zephyr going to be taunted. And Zephyr will fall as well. And oh my god, Nox cannot buy back, remember. Zephyr can, it looks like, and Plaguebetter cannot. But Moraxis, he will end up dying here perhaps, as he is also going to be chased down. He should have a buyback if he dies here.
He does,
As he is going to fall too. So, but again, just like Complexity had no buyback on Draconis, now you don't have a buyback on Silhouette here.
I don't know about the decision of jumping Legionnaire like that when you know that Draconis is going to be up in 5 seconds. I feel like they should have played the safer route. It may have been more boring, may have been longer, but just back up. There was no like it was very clear and evident you weren't going to get the racks. Maybe you get the tower if you're lucky, but they didn't do that because they initiated on a Legionnaire. Now there's no buyouts on Bubbles, no buyout on Legionnaire, no buyout on Draconis. This could be a Rax. Is honestly not the big deal if they lose Rax. They just can't die here.
Yeah, that's the big thing. You know, if it's tempting, but you ain't gonna win these fights, especially with Silhouette dead. So just let it fall. They're gonna again delay it as much as possible, but obviously they're gonna go down. So as we just had at Complexity's base, here we go at Q Squad's base now. Now Silhouette will be resurrecting in 10 seconds.
You gotta start going now.
You gotta start going shortly here.
No.
You gotta figure, okay, the tower goes down. Here comes Zephyr. There's the Sheepstick on a Legionnaire again. Legionnaire, the target of choice apparently. The Typhoon going down. Legionnaire gonna be talented. There's a Plague, and Legionnaire will probably fall at the armor block, but not gonna be enough. Silhouette actually trying to do damage to the background. More Axis trying to finish off whoever that was, but he ports out. I believe that was Glacius actually. Going to be fine. So they get a pick on a Legionnaire, and now he's dead.
No buyout.
Buyout? No, we cannot. No buyout.
Now Silhouette's going to push up in the top lane. The Illusion's going to follow the team, so they're going to be able to counter push this bottom lane, which is a massive push, mind you. And at the same time, she's going to be able to be there, available for her team in the next team fight. But yeah, no Legionnaire for another 50 seconds. Honestly, I feel like that's a bigger deal than not having Draconis.
Yep.
Because that taunt ability is really the only thing that can kill Silhouette at this point. Now you do have the lockdown. Actually, Draconis is going to go for raw damage, buys a shield breaker of his own because he wants to cut through that damage or that HP of Silhouette behind that shield from Plague Rider.
Well, here we go. The bottom tower going down again. Legionnaire is down. I 100% agree with you. Without that powerful initiator, that tanky presence, you really do lose out on a lot. So these melee racks are going to fall.
Look at them sitting there well.
Yeah, Complexity, they know. They know with Legionnaire dead, what are they going to do? They have to give up these bottom racks.
Kongor's up too. Oh my god, that's huge.
15 seconds on Legionnaire. I don't know if they're going to be able to do Kongor quick enough.
They got to
be a little bit of a risk.
Well, they should almost even bait it. A ward was placed there just by a Luna, but there was already a ward there spotting it out from the Hellborn side. They got to be careful, though, because anything can happen at this point. It's 63 minutes into the game, man.
Exactly.
So Bound Eye was picked up yet again by Glacius. It's put on Tundra. They're going to spot out this ward, but they need to defend this. And they got to stay close. They got to stay very, very close to one another. Luna's very far out.
With the buyback situation, you're right. It is anyone's game. I don't care what another rack's going down in favor of Q Squad. If Nox happens to get picked off again, it's Complexity's going to win. I mean, again, it really is anyone's game still. So you do got to be careful.
Good Zephyr Gust right there. Just took out that Tundra Hawk. Hemeraxis finishes the Demonic. He's all in. I think they're all in. They're going to push up, group up top, and maybe just go for it. And if they do it, they need to do it fast because they should know that getting that token of life up onto somebody, if they snipe out Kongor, there's a ward of sight. They might, once you see them start to push up top, I can safely assume Complex is going to maybe try to ninja Kongor. It's going to be close though. They see Silhouette blinking up there. Watch them start to maybe transition down here to Kongor.
There goes Tundra scouting out.
Looking for
now the power throw will spot Tundra there, kind of scouting out. So
maybe this is well done by QsQ. Their positioning and how fast they're pushing this. It's not going to give Complexity time. And yep, they're going to have a fight up here in the top lane. And this is the smart move from QsQ.
Here we go. Zephyr, 4,000 gold saved up, by the way. He does have a buyback. But again, I kind of do feel like, not to say there's an obvious item that it could go for, but really at this point, a buyback, it's like, is it really that worth it? Legionnaire, oh, he tried to taunt right there. Or taunt in the sense of bait them, but Meraxis nearly stunned it in time, but just a fraction of a second late. So obviously this is mega creeps here though. If they happen to get these racks up here, it will be mega creeps, and the likelihood of coming back from that is then very, very, very slim. So the tower is already about half life. Remember that base push earlier from the creep wave, definitely coming into play here. So
again, another early ultimate used by Silhouette is now faded, and you should know that if you're already going to play this passive game about letting the other lanes push in, I hate to see that because it's such a crucial part in these team fights. So she's not going to have the ultimate for another 55 seconds. They're slowly pushing up. They need to spread. She needs to spread. She needs to be very, very careful.
Here we go. The tower is going to fall. Tundra says it's time. The Avalanche on a Zephyr, actually. That's target. But in the meantime, Draconis being bursted down to the background. Silhouette jumps in. Draconis will barely survive. Legionnaire with a taunt. And a big taunt at that. The Plague is bouncing around. Of course, the Shrunken Heads are up, though. The tower will fall. Zero.
No Bubbles.
But Bubbles gets cut out. Beacon will go down. Look at the Shrine in the meantime. It is starting to take a little bit of damage on the towers, at least. So that's something else that Complexity needs to worry about. But Zephyr now diving in. Oh, a great taunt from Legionnaire once again going up. But another Storm Spirit going to be used on his Silhouette. And Legionnaire will fall shortly after. As soon as he comes down, down goes Glacius. Legionnaire, he cannot buy back once again. Tundra and Draconis just staying alive as long as they can. But that may have done it, ladies and gentlemen, with Q Squad taking
Good
out
game.
Complexity. GG, well played. And Q Squad will sweep Complexity 2-0, and they will look on and play now TDM in the following round here in the losers bracket. Wow, that means Complexity will finish 5th/6th place here in cycle number 3. I don't know. I mean, who saw that one coming? I don't think anyone did. Wow, big victory for Q Squad.
Well played there at the end. I love how they didn't wait around Kongor. They didn't want to fight a risky fight. If they knew if they lost a fight at Kongor, that'd be token plus rack, possibly game.
Yeah.
It was much smarter to keep the pressure, knowing that you have super creeps in 2 different lanes, and then just finally push up in the top lane together. Force Complexity to fight them at their base while the other lanes are pushing. And fantastic job. Chessie did all that he could, but just not enough farm on Draconis. He didn't have enough farm. And you had, I got to say, too, there at the end, big sheep sticks from Style. Like at the end, they're sheeping B-Kid on playing bubbles right there.
That proved to be a huge item pickup. You were mentioning that, and you loved
Great.
it. So.
It gave him that extra bit of utility that he really needs that he starts to lack towards the end game. And it really paid dividends right there. So fantastically played by both teams, but especially QsQ, taking up what I think is safely to assume an upset, because QsQ, I think they were thought to, I mean, they've always been a fantastic team. They looked great coming up to DreamHack, and they started to, maybe not play as well at DreamHack and then a little bit after, but taking out a 2-0 victory over Complexity. They're knocked out now from this cycle.
Q Squad, I mean, they're 4th place overall in the standings coming into this match. So obviously they're doing very well in their own right. But I still agree. This has to be considered an upset, no doubt, over Complexity. And again, I want to stress this. I don't necessarily. I know, people. You got your haters, you got your fans. They're gonna have their own opinions. But I truly do feel this is a case of just teams overall getting better. I don't think this is necessarily Complexity just starting to fall apart and everything's going to fall apart for them at all. I mean, I really just feel that this other team's getting better. Hell, you had TT Esports taking out TDM 2-0 in the winners bracket semifinals to get them where they are now. So, but yeah. So I just want to stress that point. But
I would say this second game was much better played by both teams in general. Like, it was a good game, back and forth, very even. Very little mistakes made. Game 1, though, I will say Complexity just did not play well. Like, they had a lot of individual mistakes on their team, a lot of questionable decisions throughout the entire game, and a big throw at one point. But Game 2, very good game, back and forth from start to finish, and it was a lot of fun to watch.
It was. Entertaining series, definitely, guys. So I'm sure you guys enjoyed that, but with that said, so we're gonna take a little bit of a break here, regroup ourselves and whatnot after that crazy series, and of course we are gonna be coming back at you though with what will be the winners bracket finals here from cycle number 3. Stay green. No winners. Will be the winners bracket finals coming at you, but again, just a little bit of confusion there. But Stay Green will be taking on TT Esports, of course, in the winners bracket finals. That should be a hell of a match to watch. Of course, a best out of 3, and obviously the winner of that will then sit comfortably in the grand finals, where the loser will then have to move down to the losers bracket finals themselves, and then have to play on tomorrow earlier on. So
yeah.
Again, so we're going to take a little bit of a break here. That is set to happen in we'll probably take about a 20-25 minute break here, and then we'll be coming back at you. We are going to keep the stream on, I believe. It's at that point where it doesn't make too much sense to turn off the stream necessarily, but we are going to take a little bit of a break. So sit tight, guys. Obviously, plenty more action coming at you, and gonna be a blast with the winners bracket finals. But a big congratulations one more time to Q Squad being happy, but at the same time, now they got to move on and play Trademark Esports in what is ultimately going to determine who gets 4th place. Yep. And so on. So, but Complexity finishing 5th/6th place with Lion Esports Club. Yeah. That is going to hurt their standings a little bit. We'll see ultimately how it plays out at the end of cycle 3. Definitely. Anyways, stay tuned, guys. We're going to take a short break here, but myself, Breaky CBK, joined by Tralf Mador. We will be back. Stay Green versus TT Esports Winners Bracket Finals, Diamond Division Cycle 3. Sit tight, guys.